Kevin O'Connor's rise wasn't planned, in fact. If you'd asked him in 2002, where he saw himself in 5 years, he probably would have said, still working in finance. A banker with a cushy job at Bank of America, Kevin was climbing the corporate ladder. With ease, armed with a business degree, a sharp wardrobe, and a knack for solving problems under pressure. He wasn't just good at what he did, he was thriving with a six-figure salary and a future most would envy, but everything changed in 2003 with one curious, almost accidental email about wallpaper, not a job application, not a rum, just a plea for help. On home design, that simple email sent to this old house about a wallpaper issue in the home he shared with his wife landed on the right desk at the right time. The producers liked his look, liked his vibe, and saw something unusual in him. A normal guy who seemed genuinely curious and genuinely likable. He wasn't a contractor, he wasn't a celebrity. He wasn't even in television. And that's exactly why they wanted him. Days later, Kevin was standing on camera in work boots, shoulder to shoulder with craftsmen who had decades of experience by the time Bob Va's name was brought up, an icon who had defined the show for 20 years. Kevin was already being tested as his eventual long-term replacement. What followed was one of the most dramatic transitions in home renovation TV history. Kevin didn't just fill Va's shoes, he stepped completely out of them and made the role his own. Under Kevin's stewardship, this old house modernized without losing its soul. Viewers, skeptical at first, grew to trust him. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't playing a part. He was a host who asked the questions you'd ask, who looked surprised when something worked, who laughed with the crew, tripped on tools, and called out craftsmanship with a kind of awe that never felt rehearsed. Within a few seasons, the show was nominated for multiple Emmys, ratings soared, and Kevin, the former banker, became the face of a billion-dollar brand in American home design. His net worth ballooned to an estimated $7 million. He launched books, podcasts, and partnerships with contractors nationwide. A normal guy became a household name, not by shouting, but by staying steady. But behind the scenes, something more complicated was brewing. While Kevin's public persona remained warm and approachable, a subtle tension began to rise, one that fans didn't see, but insiders whispered about. First, there was the awkward silence. Whenever Bob Via's name came up during interviews, retrospectives, and anniversary specials, Kevin rarely, if ever, mentioned VA. Despite the fact that Vila built the very foundation, Kevin now stood on VA for his part, remained quiet, but the absence was deafening. Speculation began. Was there bad blood? Creative falling out? Something contractual? When asked directly in one 2016 podcast, Kevin deflected. The show's always been about the house, not the host. But too many fans that felt more like a strategic dodge than an honest answer. Then came the comments about HTVAR as cable television leaned further into reality style. Renovation drama complete with quick flips, flashy reveals, and camera-ready couples. Kevin drew a firm line in the sand during a 2021 interview. He criticized the genre by name, saying, "It's not real. You don't fix a house in a weekend. You don't renovate with throw pillows." While some praised his commitment to craftsmanship, others saw it as an unnecessary dig, a sign of elitism, or perhaps frustration with how much attention HTV stars were getting. When asked if this old house would ever pivot toward more entertainment, friendly content, Kevin simply replied, "We'll never fake it." And then quietly, the retirement started. One by one, longtime cast members, people Kevin had worked beside for nearly 2 decades, began stepping down. First, it was Roger Cook, the beloved landscape contractor, citing health concerns. Then, Norma Bram, the soft-spoken legend of woodworking, hung up his tool belt after decades, and with each departure, fans noticed Kevin seemed more and more alone on screen. Some chalked it up to time, others wondered if the old crew was being pushed out in favor of a younger image, but no one could deny something about the show's energy was changing. By early 2024, rumors had begun swirling. Online blogs and fan forums speculated wildly about Kevin's future. Was he leaving? Was the show canceling? Was there internal drama with producers? A cryptic Instagram post from Kevin didn't help. A black and white photo of a closed workshop door with the caption, "Not every door stays open forever." Within minutes, fans flooded the comments. "Is this a goodbye?" One asked, "Say it ain't so, Kevin. pleaded another, but Kevin stayed silent until now after months of speculation. Kevin. O'Connor has finally broken his silence in a new, unfiltered interview. He confirms what many feared and reveals what no one expected. Yes. He's stepping back, not immediately, not dramatically, but he's planning his exit after 21 seasons. You start to wonder, am I still asking the right questions or just repeating myself? He says, I never wanted to be the guy who stayed too long. He insists there's no animosity, no big fight, no contract dispute, just evolution. The show needs new voices, he admits. I had mine now. It's time for someone else to step up. But then he offers something more personal. Kevin talks for the first time about the emotional weight of carrying a show built by legends. There's a kind of imposter syndrome that never really goes away, he confesses. You're in the room with guys like Norm, Tommy, Richard. You feel like you're just a kid from finance trying not to screw it up. He also addresses the Bob Vrus silence. There was never bad blood, he says carefully, but it was made clear when I started that the show needed to move forward, not look back. So, I respected that maybe too much. What's next, Kevin? Hints at a new project. Part home design, part storytelling, where he wants to highlight real families, building real homes, less about drywall, more about dreams. He smiles, and as for this old house, you'll be fine without me, he says. Pausing, it always has been with us all. Means for fans is bittersweet. Kevin O'Connor wasn't just a host, he was the guy you trusted, the friend who asked what you were too. I'm embarrassed to admit you didn't know he was calm, in a world of renovation chaos, and while his tools may soon be stored away, the impact he made on home design, on TV, and on millions of fans who grew up watching him will remain long after the last coat of paint. Subscribe to Hollywood Untold for more emotional stories behind music legends and the feuds that shaped rock history. Tap the bell to never miss a